Hey, how you guys doing? Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
So anything that we say is not meant to diagnose or cure you. This is just meant for, food for thought, things you should research and then check with your doctor before implementing any of this information. And, we're going to be answering a lot of questions, and also we're going to be talking about how to survive the holidays.
Yes.
Okay? So I think it's probably smart to define a couple words, right, from the very get-go. Because we have this transition period from this thing called Thanksgiving all the way to New Year's, right? And so I know it's hard to believe, but some people just kind of mesh them together and they kind of go off track, and then they, for a month and a half.
And then it's Valentine's Day.
Right.
And then it's Easter.
Right. So the first definition I want to find is the definition of temptation. Temptation. The desire to do something especially unwise. Yeah. So, so if you guys actually are tempted by anything food-wise during these holidays, go ahead and comment down below. I'm curious, what are you tempted by?
Oh, what are they tempted by?
Maybe we should do a video on how to completely get rid of your temptations for chocolate. How about that? That'd be a good one.
Well, it reminds me of your bubble therapy video. If you go to Dr. Burke's channel and you type in bubble therapy.
I think
That's
it's classified. I think
valuable.
it's under bread cravings.
Oh, bread cravings. Okay.
Yeah. The next
Maybe I
definition I want to cover is the definition of cheat. Or not the definition, you know what that definition is, but the Latin word for cheat means to fall from. Interesting. Interesting, to fall from someplace.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, can you cheat on keto and get away with it? I mean, can you cheat without gaining weight? That's what people always wanted to know. But, the ideal scene is not to get so freaked out about it, but just to put your body into a state of so much health, that you have so much health reserve that a temporary deviation will not create any problems at all. But we're going to be discussing some tips that you can apply during this holiday season, so stay tuned. Let's bring in our first caller. How about that?
Yeah. Somebody here?
All right, let's bring on, I think Jules is on the air.
Jules.
Hey, Jules.
Oh, we can't hear you.
Okay, so we're
Can you
working
hear
on.
me
Hey, I can hear you
Yeah.
now.
Oh, good. Woo. Okay, so I've got a few questions. First of all, I'm a big fan. Thank you for all the content you put out. But okay, so I am just getting started with keto, so it's a little bit overwhelming. I'm also a mom of two, so I've gained quite a bit of weight over the last couple of years. So is there a simple form of keto that I can start with? Like, what would you recommend, like a condensed version that I could get started with?
Okay, good. Good.
Great question.
Good question. I think the most important thing you need to know is that there's basically three types of things you have to focus on. Just three things. It's like you have the carbs, protein, and fat. And what's really cool is you just need to keep it even simpler than that and just focus on reducing your carbs. Don't worry about fats or proteins. The carbs are the thing that you need to reduce. Wouldn't you suggest? I mean, wouldn't that be some good simple? I mean, that's as simple as you can get.
That's as simple as you can get. I would just add that if somebody's like, well, I can get rid of carbs, but I feel that deprivation, one trick I did, if you remember, was I just focused on increasing my vegetables. Because I was not into, the deprivation point, or I can't have this, or I can't have that. So I just focused on getting 7 to 10 cups of salad a day. So no matter what else I ate, I was like, okay, 7 to 10 cups of salad. And that really worked for me because my body was, had more nutrient dense food in it. I felt more satisfied, and I didn't have the desire to have any other sugar.
Karen, that's
That's
some very
sneaky way.
good tip there.
That's my tip.
Yes.
Okay, cool. That actually brings me to my next question. So I am kind of a picky eater, and I'm really bad with vegetables in particular, and I actually do get your veggie solution because of that. So besides veggie solution, what do you suggest? Like, I still try to eat vegetables, but like, is it okay for the most part to sub my vegetables with veggie solution, or am I cheating?
I mean, there's different levels of this. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's some people that will not eat a vegetable, so you give them an alternative solution. Veggie solution is a good one. The wheatgrass juice powder is really concentrated, but also if you were just to, there's other things you can do. Like for example, celery. Like right now, I'm into the celery kick. So are you. So you take the celery, put peanut butter on it. I mean, so you got the peanut butter, you have the celery to use it as a, I mean, that's kind of like you could do a whole stock of that and get enough fiber. And there's some good things in celery. Another one is the hummus, and if you have to do like carrots and hummus or cucumbers and hummus, that's a no-brainer. What are some other
Well, the
ideas?
thing that I did initially too was it sort of launched the whole kale shake thing is blending, not juicing. Because juicing, you lose all the fiber. So you'd have to be kind of careful about what vegetables you juice. Not anything like a beet that's going to be super sweet, or a carrot or something like that. But if you can blend any greens,
Kale.
You can blend kale, but I've even blended mixed spring greens.
You have?
Yeah,
Wow.
and adding some flavoring or whatever, and that's another way to get it down. The other thing, come on, just cover it with melted cheese.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. I can try
Broccoli
that.
and cheese. You can also take, when you take the kale, get organic kale and put it in the freezer. Then you pull it out frozen. You mix it with the berries. You blend it with the berries with water. Anyone can do that. Even you, Jules.
Even you.
That sounds simple enough. And then, okay, so what berries though?
You can do any of the berries. Like strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm going to try that.
Okay, great.
Cool. Well, those are my questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Jules.
Have a great holiday.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks.
Now, I want to mention something about sugar. Okay, sugar. There's some things you can do to minimize damage control of sugar. Because sugar creates a lot of inflammation and free radicals and all sorts of things. But if you were to consume nutrients with your sugar, you're at least going to reduce the collateral damage that occurs. So let's say, for example, you have like fruit versus refined sugar. The fruit has nutrients that are going to protect you against some of the complications, so you'll have less side effects. So if you were to add nutrients, whether it's supplements or something that has vitamins and minerals, you're going to reduce the damage of the sugar.
Okay.
And in addition to that, adding more fiber buffers the spike of sugar. So you would want to have carbs that have higher fiber, like celery, for example. Which is
I'm going to
delicious.
interject here.
Yeah.
Our team in the box, we're getting some feedback from Facebook people, Manuel, that there's an echo.
Okay.
I don't think he's listening. Okay, guys, thanks for being patient. We are using a slightly different platform today. So you're in this adventure with us. Now I have a question
What?
on that point. So as soon as you say, well, if you're going to have sugar, have nutrients with it, I all of a sudden see this big green light on Thanksgiving. Okay, I can have pie. And because we'd have to go way back in my comments
Sprinkle vitamins on it.
to talk about the things, the temptations,
Right.
the question you asked. So we'll go back and do that. But say there's a pie and ice cream, and there's bread, there's stuffing, there's biscuits, not keto, and I say, you know what? I can eat this stuff. Or say it's not Thanksgiving, it's any old day. And Dr. Berg says, I can have sugar as long as I have nutrients. So, is that what you're saying? And then also, what
That's not what I'm
nutrients? What nutrients am I going to have to take?
All I'm saying is that if you're in a situation where you're forced to eat a carbohydrate at gunpoint, and you want to minimize the damage control, you can make sure you add nutrients with it to lessen the effect, or fiber. So because we're talking about Thanksgiving, we're just talking about how can we make it better for you.
So are there certain nutrients?
Yes.
Okay. What did I do?
Potassium is a big one. also magnesium, vitamin B1, vitamin D. These are all real key nutrients to minimize the damage control. Now, the good thing about this is that, again, there's several things you can do going into Thanksgiving, for example. You know you're going to go off track, okay, fine. The first thing you should eat on that table would be what, Karen?
The vegetables.
Right, but people don't do that. They start with the protein, and then they have the mashed potatoes, right? And then if there's any space left in your stomach after the pie, then they'll have like a little small table salad or a side salad.
Yes. Oh, and there's echoing. And we hear you guys on YouTube and Facebook that there's an echo. They are working on it. I know it's annoying. Sorry about that. Okay, let us know if it's handled, you guys, because I am reading your comments. I wanted to
Chime in.
I wanted to chime in on the salad thing because when we eat a salad, you know, it's in a bowl. My bowl's a small bowl, and I can get 6, 7 cups in it with my salad scissors, and his bowl is even bigger. So when we get a salad, the biggest salad usually is nowhere near big enough. I always have to laugh when you go to some homes or something and you get a salad and it's like
The smallest little thing.
little 7 sprigs on the side. It's almost a garnish. You
Right.
know? So if you just change it a little bit, like you get everybody a salad bowl at the table, like a legit salad bowl.
And have the salad already there for
And
them.
put this out.
And don't have any other food until they complete it.
Well, you could do that too.
Let's
You
do it.
could do it by courses, and everybody
love
the
it.
very first course. That is a really
Well, we're
good
going to start a
idea.
new trend.
Because we serve everything all at the same time. It's a good idea to
Because
start
if-
serving your family salad first.
Here's the thing, if you have that salad, first of all, you get the nutrients to protect you against the stuff you're going to eat later, number one.
Right.
You have the fiber to buffer the insulin response. You probably eat less of the bad things because you're going to be so stuffed at the end after having 10 cups of salad. So I think it's workable. I really do.
Yeah, and if you're one of those people who can't eat a ton of raw vegetables, because there are those people that get some bloating or whatever, then you should have your steamed vegetables as your salad.
You're right.
But if you just put that discipline in, I really like that, and I'm going to do that on Thursday.
Yeah.
And we're going to serve that first.
I can't wait to see the expression on anyone's face like,
Look, if anybody
what?
comes to our
They
house,
have to know, they have to know.
They know. They know.
Why don't we give them a special recording of a video on salad before they arrive, just so we
They have to
can
get
educate them on the process.
It's our children. I think they know.
Okay, so here's the other thing. So you got the salad thing down, right? That's the tip.
Right.
Okay, a couple other tips. You want to get right back on track after a holiday. So you go off track for one day, get right back on. Because what's going to happen if you eat something sweet, your blood sugar is going to drop the next day. You're going to be more tempted, of course. Now you're in this craving, caving into the cravings, like it's a never-ending circle. So
Put the carbs away.
yeah, put them
Put
away.
more
Get
carbs.
back on the track.
Pull out the celery, leave it on the counter. Celery and peanut butter if you have to do peanut butter, and do whatever you can. Plow through, do some kale shakes, real kale shakes,
Right.
real vegetable.
There's certain habits that people have, and they definitely, the holidays is part of it, right? So you have these habits people have, and then you have to push those to the side to really use discipline to keep it strict, to actually go, okay, tomorrow I'm going to get back on track, and then do your fasting, make up some of the damage if you really went off track, and then you know what, then you're good. Then you plan on doing it the next holiday and whatever. So you just want to, these are things that you can do to minimize the effects.
The effects. And for you guys that are really hardcore keto intermittent fasting,
They're going to fast through the holidays, so you don't have to worry about it.
That's not what I was going to say. I was going to say, you're going to feel it the next day in your body. You're going to feel those carbs. And maybe. And it could motivate you.
Here's another tip you just reminded me. So if you feel it, well, you're going to feel it in your brain mostly because the brain is mostly affected by carbs. So one thing you can do, and this is just a little trick, if you take MCT oil the day after the holiday or even during, and your brain has a choice between the glucose in your blood and the MCT oil, which turns into ketones, it will always pick the ketones over the glucose, even if there's glucose there. So the MCT oil will at least keep your brain from developing brain fog. And so that's another tip.
That is a really good tip. I think that's a tip for any given day.
Exactly. Should we go to another, our next caller? Let's pull them in to Sally. You're on the interwebs. Are you there?
Nashville. Where are you, Sally?
Hey,
There you
hi
are.
Sally.
Oh, I can't hear you. Keep talking.
They're gonna fix
They're
it.
going to get you.
I got it. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Awesome. Okay, a big fan. I've been following you guys for a while now. I hear you talk a lot about eggs and how it's kind of, in a way, a superfood. There's a lot of nutrition in eggs. Recently, I just found some quail eggs in the grocery store, and I looked into them, and I saw that they are really jam-packed with quail eggs. I just wanted to know if you had any. Do you feel like that would be an adequate thing to incorporate into a keto diet?
Very good question. So the question is about quail eggs. You know, there's some. The problem is that the yolks are a little bit smaller than chicken eggs. They're slightly smaller.
Slightly.
you have to have quite a few of them. But one thing that's unique about quail eggs, it's not only is it super nutrient dense, but it's really, really good for allergies that people have. If they have any type of allergies, quail eggs will help their immune system. And there's even some reports that say you can actually overcome allergies by introducing quail eggs to your diet. And you see them at the farmer's market all the time. I think that would be a brilliant thing to do if I were you.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you so much. I really
welcome.
appreciate it.
Okay, well, have a
Right.
nice Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to you both.
Good. I like this. You can pull people right in
Yeah.
and see them.
I like it.
Do you want to bring in some
Some
questions?
Well, Cynthia on YouTube. Oh, and we have to go back and see people's temptations.
Oh,
You
what do we
wanna
got?
ask
What do we got?
So Cynthia, hang on. I'm going to get to your question. But I'm going to have to scroll way the heck back here because it was a long time ago. A little more, a little more. Okay. Okay, so there's pie,
Mhm.
sweet potatoes.
Okay.
Let's see, go back a little bit. Mashed potatoes,
Oh yeah.
the bread.
Bread. Okay.
Any said dessert. Let's see if there's something different. You guys agree on a lot of these things. Oh, I see a lot of you were telling us about the echo. Thank you very much.
Okay. So I don't want to spend
No,
too
not
much
too
time
much
on this,
time on
but
it. I was just looking to see if there was
you
anything
you
else going
scan.
on.
Okay. Good.
Okay, great.
Okay, so here's a couple things that if you're not familiar with our channel, if you guys go to YouTube and you click under Dr. Brooks' channel, there's a little channel, there's different channels, we have different languages, but there's also one on recipe channel. In that channel, you're going to find a lot of recipes for desserts, cakes, cookies, pies, you name it. That is your go-to if you want some really good recipes.
And they're simple. They're really simple because I did not the majority of them, maybe a lot of them. And I like a simple recipe. And I love the holidays because it really forces me to make all these incredible things keto. And, you know, chocolate mousse. There's a chocolate mousse recipe there that is
Oh yeah, that's right.
unbelievable. And I think it's 3 ingredients or something like that. Pies, cheesecakes, cookies. You know, and there's also things that, other things like gravies and things like that that you can learn to make more keto. It's fun.
If you get your kids involved in making the recipes, I mean, that's a really important thing, because the problem is that you have these kids that maybe might not be on the program, and you're trying to just make this transition. You didn't start them out low carb. So your next child, start them out low carb so they don't know the difference. But
Your
you
next
want
child.
you start transitioning out of these carbs, because I'm telling you, the behavior, the ability to learn, the energy level
That's right.
of these kids are going to be so much better. But
And just
get
as
them
a-
involved with the recipes.
Yeah, and just as a tip on the children, I would not, from everything I've seen and even our own experience, I would not start telling them, I'm getting you off sugar. I would start to incorporate some recipes that are delicious and that they enjoy.
And then when they wake up and there's no sugar in the house.
And then slowly, and yeah, you do need to educate them, but I have seen it where maybe a household is so focused on no sugar and it becomes this big deprivation for the kids, and then they resist, even though they might love the cheesecake or the cookies that were made with some alternative sweetener. They resist or protest eating those because they don't have the sugar. So I would just not make as big a deal of it. Just start making recipes, or have them help you make recipes and tweak them until they love it. And then, just gradiently educate them on food in general, not just sugar.
What you're up against, though, with the child is you're up against their physical blood sugars. It's not, they can't, they're not being reasonable. All they want, their body's telling them they want it. So you can't, you have to actually get their blood sugar stabilized, and then you'll find they're a lot calmer. They'll be a little bit more in the present and be less crazy. Okay, so now let's bring
We
on the
have
next
someone-
caller.
Yeah, then I have to get Cynthia's question answered.
All
Okay,
right.
good. So Cynthia, back to you on YouTube. She's asking about coconut and peanuts. Are these things keto friendly?
Coconuts are definitely, but not coconut, that coconut juice. What do you call it? Coconut,
coconut water?
No. That's like 30 grams of sugar. Stay away from the coconut water and the coconut sugar. As far as peanuts go, they're fine. They're fine. I would make sure that it doesn't come with sugar added as well as other oils, because sometimes when you look at the back of the label, you buy this peanut butter, they stuck canola oil in there or soy oil, or you don't want that. You just want peanut oil, preferably organic, and sea salt. That's what you want, Karen.
And there's a peanut you prefer, Valencia, right?
Yeah. It has the least amount of mold, which is exciting.
And that's always good.
Okay, so we're giving you some tips. I have a couple more here. Okay, so you go off track, and you got yourself in a situation where you enjoy this food and you're eating too much, and now you're really uncomfortable and you're stuffed. I know that might not be real to very many people, but you're exploded and you want to keep going. What you could do, now you don't, you want to take a bottle of digestive formula like betaine hydrochloride or even apple cider vinegar, preferably betaine hydrochloride in there, and you start taking those through the meal. What's going to happen, it's going to go to work and start digesting these meal for you. It's going to help the bloating and the pain in your stomach. And then throw a gallbladder formula in there just for fun, and you'll find that you'll be less bloated. So that's one thing to make you more comfortable, but then the next day you want to make up the damage. So eat twice as good, fast longer, because you're trying to get the body to recover.
Eat twice as good, not twice as much. So I see the Thanksgiving table, right? First is the salad, right? But then there's the little dish that you might have put your something in, right? There's a little dish at everybody's plate.
That should be for your
And it has some
carbs.
digestive
Oh, I see what you're saying.
formula and a gallbladder, and everybody can take that.
I
It's a
think,
little different spin on the traditional Thanksgiving, but
I mean, at one Thanksgiving, I know what we did, and I'm not recommending this, but we started downing. Like I was doing like maybe, I probably did up to 20 betaine hydrochloride. Like I just kept eating, and it was like, wow, I could keep eating. This is amazing. So it just, I don't recommend that, but
we don't recommend that.
But anyway, that's just what I did.
Experiment with it is the thing, you know?
There's what happens too is you during the holidays, because it's so traditional and cultural, people tend to slide into this very interesting behavior, which they'll do things that they don't normally do. So you want to identify, are you really hungry? Do you need to keep going?
It is an emotional experience, and it's loved because it is an emotional experience. But I remember having Thanksgiving and watching a football game and putting only some of the food away, but not all of the food, because just not all that many hours later, after huge Thanksgiving and all the pies and desserts, going back for sandwiches, turkey sandwich.
Not that you were hungry. Not that you were hungry.
No one was
Right, you do it for
but
pleasure.
it was a tradition, and it was time, and then the next course would come out, and the sandwich fixings, and
The other thing too, Karen, is that you want to have a lot of substitute foods. Like, of course, you guys already know this, but like instead of potatoes, you do cauliflower mash. Put some sour cream, sea salt, butter,
cream cheese, heavy cream.
keto gravy. You know, you just, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Always.
Okay, good. Now, the sweet potato compared to a yam is really, 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 really high in the wrong type of carbs, just FYI. Not only that, but there's some people that will have a sweet potato pie and they'll they'll add marshmallows and brown sugar on top of that. Like, how sweet do you need to really make that? I don't know.
Yeah. But what about now squashes, like acorn squash,
totally
butternut
fine.
squash, spaghetti squash?
Totally fine. Very good idea. Squash is good. Kale is better, but no, squash is fine. Let's take some more questions.
Okay, good. So Jack on YouTube, he asked, what about roast duck in terms of a kind of
It's
a
actually
fatty
better.
meat,
It's
right?
better than chicken. Totally better than chicken. It has more fat. It's healthier. It's absolutely great.
Okay. Well, Elizabeth on Facebook, she's asking about diet sodas.
No. There are some new sodas out there that have sugar alcohols. I like those. They have stevia in there, which actually really sweetens it nicely. So that's what you need to do. The artificial sweeteners come with a package. They disrupt your gut, and they can affect your blood sugars almost like actual sugar.
And I'll tell you what I used to love is just getting like a San Pellegrino, some kind of regular sparkling water, and I would add root beer stevia to
Oh yeah,
it.
yeah.
And it
the
is
flavor.
a root beer. If you don't consider that it has no color, there's a lot of alternatives, and you don't have to have soda or diet soda, because diet soda is really filled with a lot of chemicals. So,
You know, time for another tip, Karen. So,
okay.
So you get through Thanksgiving, get back on track, and then you have this thing called Christmas, if you're celebrating that, or you also do New
Or
Year's.
many other, Hanukkah and
Right.
Kwanzaa and whatever. Or, you just want to chime in and celebrate. Attend
What
parties
happens is that it's a very stressful time for a lot of people, and so what people tend to do when they're under stress is go for the carb, because carbohydrates spike dopamine. Dopamine is the pleasure neurotransmitter in your brain. So just realize, guys, it's artificial. This is giving you an artificial sense of pleasure for about 5 minutes until you go into a deeper depression. So if you actually get a hankering for carbs, hankering for carbs, instead go after protein. That would be better. And of course, nutrient-dense fats as well as vegetables. So, but the carbs are definitely, boy, that's just going to make you actually more stressed. You're going to have more anxiety, unfortunately.
I think, the way I approach the holidays, I now love the holidays because I have absolutely no consideration on things that I cannot serve. And my family really looks forward to it. I think they wish that I would make some of these things more often, because kind of only do it on a holiday or a birthday or something.
You know what? If you ask me what I would like,
What would you like?
if you could just make that lasagna, a keto-friendly lasagna that you made with those noodles that were really thin.
Yeah.
I mean, that literally, growing up, that was my favorite food, and you actually were able to make it.
Yeah.
Did we put that on a video? Did we? I think we did.
I think we did.
It should be on the channel, guys. That is probably one of the most amazing recipes. It's lasagna, keto-friendly lasagna. The problem is making enough of it, because I'll eat
The
pretty
whole
much
thing.
the whole thing.
All of it.
Let's bring in another caller, or visitor. Sergio.
Hello? Hello? Sorry, I can't seem to hear you. Sorry about that. I can't hear you. Okay. So I'm just going to make my question, and hopefully I can see the replay after. So my question is, I'm on keto for 2 months now, and I've been doing great with it. I have lost almost 30 pounds, but very occasionally I feel a little bit lightheaded. Like a day or two, like once in a week sometimes, especially when I get up from my couch, or when I wake up from sleep and I just feel lightheaded. And I'm wondering, what am I missing in my nutrition? Yeah.
He lost 30 pounds, and right now he has some lightheadedness when he gets up on the couch. I think in the morning he gets lightheaded. That's a simple one. All you have to do is increase your salt, sea salt. Because here's the thing, Karen, when you do keto,
Hold on. We're hearing that they lost the sound on the other end. Manuel?
okay.
No, still.
Is it working, guys? Yes.
Can you
or
guys
no?
hear us? Tell us yes or no. We hear you. Okay, thanks,
So,
Stephanie.
When you actually go from sugar to ketosis, you dump a tremendous amount of water, and with that comes electrolytes, especially the sea salt. So if you're not doing a good amount of salt, and you know what, honestly, there's a lot of confusion around how much salt you really need, and I think people need a lot more than they actually think, even if they don't work out. So when you're in keto, feel free to add more salt until that dizziness, that lightheadedness goes away, because you're going to be losing salt. That could be, it's such a simple thing. And another way to know that you are deficient in salt is not just craving salt, but craving the things that have salt in it, like chips, things like that, or salty nuts. Also, if you have weak muscles, that is a sodium deficiency as well. Weak muscles. Yep, that's right, Karen.
All right, good. So Rajat, speaking of working out, says he's been on keto. His hands, legs, and chest itch when he works out.
Anytime people say itch, I think poison ivy. No, no, I think that it's pruritus, which is a symptom of liver, which is normally a deficiency of bile, and the bile is basically kind of backing up into the blood and into the skin. So one simple solution is to take purified bile salts on an empty stomach, and the itching should go away. The other thing is to watch my videos on gallbladder to start to get rid of the root issue, which could be your diet or something related to that. But you know, I looked at recently how many videos I have on the gallbladder, and I have quite a few. So there's a lot of interesting information about gallbladder, bile. I'm interested in it. I don't know if anyone else is.
Now, didn't you also do a little bit of research with a few individuals regarding skin conditions like psoriasis or
Oh yeah.
itching or
There's a great
with regard
protocol.
to the gallbladder. And I realized that when I was growing up, I had a kind of a psoriasis also, which faded with time, but I know that more recently when we were really digging into the gallbladder and gallbladder formula and bile salts, that I had a couple of big body discomforts that I didn't even realize I had resolved with bile salt.
Here's the thing, Karen. You know, typically when you, in order for any body fluid to work, it always has a receptor. So there's bioreceptors. There are about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different bioreceptors that go beyond the digestive system. So in other words, bile creates really cool effects in other places of your body. And they're just discovering this right now. And I'm all over that research. It's fascinating. The things that you can affect with purified bile salts, even including better vision, because it actually stimulates more vitamin A, especially vitamin D. So if you're constantly vitamin D deficient, it could mean that you just need more bile. And the other thing too is autoimmune conditions. Bile salts are really important in that. I will be doing another video on this just because I'm into it. I have every textbook on bile and gallbladder that you have out there, and so it's interesting, Karen. It's just interesting. I don't know why, you know.
I know.
People aren't talking about the bile.
Well, I think they will be, because just about everything you start talking about in a couple of months, we hear
Ends up with
everybody
bile.
talking about. Yeah, and now it's bile. But you know what people have always been curious about is, what book are you reading right now?
Well, I'm reading a really good, I think it's by Ellis and Ellis. It's a biochemistry book, and it's one of the basic books out there. It's, I'll put it down below when I get home. I'll just put a link down there. It's fascinating. If you want to understand biochemistry, and if you went through college or high school and you had a biochemistry or any of the biology classes and you just didn't get it, this book will take it at a different level. It'll actually give you all these basics first, very easy to understand, and it's like when you're trying to study any topic, especially in the medical field, and you don't get the basics, you're screwed. Because it's like trying to talk about biochemistry and you don't have the basic biology of how this thing works and how chemistry works. I lucked out. I had a really good chemistry teacher in high school. I got those basics in, and then I was able to build on it. But some people, you're missing this huge basic thing, and then you can't learn beyond that. You're pretty much, you're going to have to go back and relearn the basics. So that's what I'm reading right now, Karen. I will share the book with you later today, now that you're interested.
Oh, well, good. Bjorn I think he was on Facebook, wanted to know, he's got pigment appearing on his face. Why would that be? What could that be?
Well, that usually is a liver issue. The skin will, it could be a temporary thing. There's things that can trigger it, like stress. It could be a combination of too much cortisol. Too much estrogen will cause this darkening or pigment on the skin, or too much insulin. So it's those three hormones that are always creating problems for people, and it would be like creating a kind of a slightly darker pigments part on your skin, and it'll go away once you resolve it. But if you get that, it could be estrogen, insulin, or cortisol. Primarily, it's going to be estrogen. Primarily it's going to be insulin, simply because people do have a sweet tooth. All right, good. People do.
People do. So, what is NMOSD?
I have no idea.
Okay, so we can't answer that question then. Whoever was wanting to know about that. So here's. Okay.
All right.
Okay, so Caroline on YouTube, she's saying she guesses she can't do keto because she has to avoid salt. She has lymphedema and high blood pressure and AFib, as well as IBS, diverticulitis, arthritis. Well, you should be doing keto.
As long as she doesn't have arthrongus, she's in good shape. Here's the thing about the salt. If you are salt sensitive, simple. Increase your potassium. Potassium is the opposing mineral. You need to go more potassium, and that will actually bring your sodium into balance. If you have lymphedema, one of the best things that you should do is the rebounding exercises on the trampoline, because the lymphatic system does not have a pump. It only gets mobilized with movement, muscular movement, and the trampoline is the greatest thing. You jump on that thing and you activate the lymphatic system. Lymphatic system is part immune, and it's also it's a system that transports fat. So when you eat fat in your body, it goes through the intestine. It doesn't go into your blood system right off the bat. It goes through the lymphatic system, and your lymphatic system kind of packages this like in grocery bags, this fat, and it's able to transport, because oil and water don't mix, transport through the lymphatic system to the certain parts of the body, like the muscle or the liver or whatever, for energy. So when you start doing rebound exercises, you're going to probably notice that your immune system's a little bit better, but also your energy goes up because you're activating more stimulation of this transportation of fat.
Okay, I know what's on my Christmas list.
You want a rebounder.
I want a trampoline. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't have a picture in my head of a rebounder.
If you're older and you're going to get a trampoline, make sure you get like a
excuse
little.
me.
I'm not talking about you. I'm not. Those people that are just starting out, make sure you grab onto something. You have like a little brace, because you start jumping on this trampoline. Let's say you're, I don't know, in your 70s or 80s, and you're not used to it, and you bounce off, and all of a sudden you email me, Dr. Berg, you said that was a good thing, and now like no.
Right.
So
Well,
make sure
anybody
you
at
support
any
yourself.
age should use care when doing that, of course. But that is a great.
Remember our son Ian? We had this huge trampoline in the backyard. We're watching him, like he had no fear.
He's a fearless kid.
He took a ladder and he just went backwards on this trampoline, and he would just, and then one day we're watching him and he bounced right off, boom,
Onto the ground.
and he falls down. He gets up, he goes, no, I'm fine. I'm like, scared the heck out of me.
Yeah. Big ladder. We're in the kitchen and we see him climb to the top of this ladder, and then he just free falls backwards, boing, and then flies down. And we go running out there, and he's on the ground, and he says, I'm okay. So we don't recommend that, but he did have a lot of energy.
He sure did. Now, next week, new videos that I'm going to release. One is what's really behind that lump in your throat. A lot of people have this condition that this very irritating, feels like there's a pill or some food in their throat. They don't know what it is. I'm going to be giving you a really good solution for that. And then the other video that I'm going to talk about is the why we need viruses, the benefit of viruses. Did you realize that if all the viruses were gone overnight, you would not last more than a week on this planet? Stay tuned for that
Kind of
video.
an opposite conversation, isn't it?
Oh yeah, there's
Opposite day.
There's some serious benefits to viruses that you'll want to know about. Stay
All
tuned.
viruses? Because clearly, that's a sensitive subject right now.
Let's just say that stay tuned for more information on that,
Okay.
Karen.
Okay.
All right. So, do we
So
have
we have a caller?
do we have a caller, or do we have a question?
Okay, good. We'll do more questions from social media here.
Speaking about viruses, while you're searching that, one thing that's interesting about viruses is they become less deadly over time. All these viruses, they start to go in society. They don't really have a goal to kill the host, because that means they're going to kill themselves. So they want to spread, they want to kind of adapt and live in our bodies and coexist. That's the kind of their eventual goal. I mean, if you take the Spanish flu that was in 1918 that literally killed 50 million people, that's called H1N1 influenza virus. Do you realize that's still around now, but it's not creating a lot of death like it did back then? Why? Because over time it becomes less damaging and deadly. more on that coming up.
Wow, that's quite the trailer right there. Hey, so let me see. Julie on Facebook said
Yep.
she's been on keto for 3 years. Now, I'm going to assume, Julie, that you've been doing Dr. Berg's version of healthy keto. Because that's the thing, if you're new to keto, you may not realize that keto is such a generic term, and you can Google and see a million different versions of keto. So all we forward is Dr. Berg's clearly defined healthy keto. So anyway, she's been in keto for 3 years. Sudden swelling of the legs.
Yeah, I think there has to be some type of carbs introduced into your body. Now, there is a situation too, if you're not doing any extra carbs, and it's not that, you're not training the water, and you're not doing massive amounts of maybe too much salt, then it could be a B1 deficiency, because one of the things that shows up with when you do keto is you need more B1. And a B1 deficiency will cause edema in your legs. Now, if the edema is on the right foot, that's more maybe liver congestion. If it's on the left foot, it could be more heart, possibly. But it's kind of rare. The biggest reason is just because you're doing too many carbs or hidden carbs.
All right,
right,
we
let's-
have a caller. Karen.
Hey, Karen.
One
Hi,
of the
how are
nice
you?
Karens, right? Oh, we can't hear her. Hold on, Karen. Talk.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Nope.
No.
Hold on.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great,
Oh,
great.
Now it's
No.
gone.
What happened?
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
We can hear you.
All right. Well, I've been following you for maybe about 3 or 4 months now. And my concern as a type 2 diabetic on keto is, and my blood sugars are not normal. You know, I've been on and off and I haven't been compliant. But my concern is with the number of carbs or the grams of carbs. I don't want my blood sugar to drop too fast or too drastically. Is there a way for me to ease into that as far as the carbs so that I don't have a dramatic drop?
You know, you brought up a really good question, and let's talk about that, because if you're diabetic, what you have is a situation when your blood sugar is too high. So you jump on keto, boy, it's going to drop the carbs down and the need for insulin down. And if you're still taking your medications, you could end up with a hypoglycemic reaction. So the best thing to do is do it in like a 3-step process. The first process is don't snack anymore. Just do 3 meals. Don't change your diet. Just do 3 meals a day for a couple days. Okay, you got that going. And then you slowly start reducing your carbs. Okay, you're still doing 3 meals. And then you do it more. But make sure that you're checking your blood sugars. You need one of those little testers. You check your blood sugars several times a day. If it drops closer down to 80, realize you better not be taking medication. Get with your doctor, because the need for that's going to go way down, and then you're going to be okay. You're going to find too eventually you won't be on your medication because your doctor will wean you off of it. And now, without medication, now you don't have to worry about it because there's nothing to push it down. There's nothing. See, the medication is pushing your blood sugar down. If you don't have anything pushing it down, now you can really go low carb, because then you'll actually have normal blood sugars. But the benefits for a diabetic of doing this are huge long term. You're going to protect your brain, your heart, your kidneys, your eyes, your nerves in your feet. You need to do it. But I will say though, I remember when I was in practice, I had some people do this and they end up with low blood sugar, so they had to eat some candy or something. We worked through that, but maybe you don't want to cut everything out overnight. Good question.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks
Have
for
a nice
asking the question.
Thanksgiving.
And I'm glad there's
too.
no
You can do it.
holidays coming up, so you're good to go to get started
Call back
tomorrow.
call back and tell us how great you did on Thanksgiving.
Okay, I will.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
see ya.
Now, Karen,
Yes, sir.
so this is the question for everyone.
Okay.
Are nuts a healthy snack? See what you guys say on that one. You watch the answers.
Okay.
And
So I wanted to take a minute to just thank you guys for working with us today. We are doing a little slightly different platform, and you're helping us with making this smooth by letting us know when you can hear or see or anything. We really appreciate it, because you guys are right here with us, and we thank you.
I'm also going to be doing a video on, see if they're answering anything. High and low cortisol. Sometimes it's confusing. Like, do I have high cortisol? Do I have low cortisol? I have symptoms of both. What's going on with that? I'm going to do a video on
Send it
that.
to this guy.
I will do a video on that.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. Let's see what kind of answers we have, Karen.
Okay, I'm with Jean. Jeans Bangs. That can't be your name. But you know what? We agree. But let's see.
Okay, depends on the nuts.
Moderation, yes. Now, Jeans Bangs
I'm logged in.
is
Okay.
saying no snacks. Same with
Okay,
a couple of other people.
this is a trick question.
I knew it was a trick
A
question.
trick question.
Because-
Nuts are healthy with a meal, but not as a snack. Why? Because
Yes.
every time you eat anything, you actually trigger insulin.
Right.
I will do a video on that as well. I already
So-
did one, but I'll do another one.
So there, yeah. So people, there's a little lag sometimes on the comments. So I'm seeing that a lot of you knew that was a trick question. And for those of you who are making comments about nuts, I see that you are correct about the nuts. It's just with the meal that you want to eat them. Okay.
Okay.
Now we have another caller.
Yes,
Tell me his
let's-
name again.
Hey, Tom.
There he
Hey,
is.
Tom.
There.
Now, can we hear you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, beautiful.
Okay, very good. Well, thanks for taking my call. I love all the videos and appreciate them very much. I've been on it about 2 years now. I had some operations, a back surgery and 2 hips. So I was stuck in bed for a year. I've run marathons. My weight was 178. After the stuck in bed for a year, I got up to 278. Then I got into bodybuilding. Now, after 2 years of keto, I'm about 240, which isn't horrible, but I'm still trying to lose. But my blood work came back, and I have my ratios, my triglycerides, and all that stuff with HDL. And I just want to run them by you. And I have another Zoom call today with a guy named Dr. Ford Brewer. I don't know if you're familiar with that guy from Johns Hopkins. But I've done all those tests too, because I'm kind of a nut and I really enjoy all this stuff. It's a lot of fun. And what a better place to put your energy than on yourself. If I ran by my ratios, would that give you insight as far as going forward, I guess, with my keto?
I think the most important thing that I would want to know, if you did an advanced lipid test, if you can measure your type A or type B, the small dense, do you have that data?
I do. I know I'm the bigger ones. I'm not the
good.
Yeah. So that's what threw me off, because my triglyceride ratio is like 1.5. Okay. And I have the big, because I've watched enough of yours, but right now I just got done exercising and I wasn't sure I was going to get through to you, so I'm a little brain dead. But my HDL or my LDL is like 210. And my daughter, who's a doctor, but again, they go from the textbooks, right out of the thing. They don't, I tell her, what about the ratio with triglycerides and HDL? She goes, huh? So, yeah. So, that's why between talking to you and hopefully today with Dr. Ford Brewer, I'm going to do what's right for me. Because just like that pyramid is upside down, I don't know what to believe anymore.
Right.
And especially with our elections.
Right.
Let's leave that one alone.
Yeah.
So, all right. I don't know if that's enough. What would you say to me?
What I would say is, like Karen's LDL was really high, and so we did advanced tests, and we found, oh my gosh, it's like you're totally fine, because there's 2 types of LDL. There's one that's the small dense, which actually invades the artery and creates problem and inflammation. But the small buoyant or the large buoyant LDL is not a problem, because it's free floating through the body, and that's coming from either your diet or your mobilization of your adipose tissue. Because you have both, you have triglycerides and you have cholesterol in the fat cell, so those are being mobilized. So your ratios, you mentioned your ratios, are way more important than total cholesterol, for sure. Also, I don't know if you can measure your remnant cholesterol, where you're basically taking your total cholesterol and you're minusing your LDL and your HDL. And if there's any other LDLs, any other lipoproteins too. There's ultra low dense lipoprotein, there's very low lipoproteins. So there's all these different particles. And if you actually can see that your remnant cholesterol, that's taking out all the other transportation, if it's like right around, above 20 or 30, then becomes more of a problem. But usually it's going to be probably low. Maybe it's 15, maybe it's 10. That means you're exercising, you're using all this extra energy. One thing that people have a huge confusion with is what these LDL and HDL, what those really signify. They're basically they're transport carriers, and they carry the cholesterol through the body for very important purposes, out to the tissues, and then from the tissues out to the liver. And so they just now recently discovered, and I'm going to do a video on this, that it's not just HDL that carries cholesterol back to the liver. Some of these other things also do that as well, even more than HDL. I'm going to release a video on it, and this is going to turn the whole thing upside down. But unless you're updated on the recent true information about cholesterol, and you fall back in this whole thing, oh, cholesterol's bad, avoid it, get on a statin, it's like, whatever. So I think sounds like you're
that
good.
was really my question, is they want to put me on Crestor, like a 0.5 or whatever it is, And but
Right.
And I look at my ratios, and the only thing that's high is my total cholesterol to my HDL, which is like a 4.6. Okay. But all my other ones, my HDL to my LDL are low, my triglycerides are low, my LDL to my HDL is moderate. So I don't want to take it if I.
Right.
You're saying if you were me.
Well, of course, if I was you, I wouldn't take it. But I think that you didn't hear that on this show.
But you didn't hear that here.
No, of course.
I mean, so I guess that's all I can say. Watch some of my videos on this, but you can
make your
read
own
through the
decision.
lines.
And
Yeah. Let me ask you this, because a lot of folks asked me on this one, and now I'm turning into like a go-to. And I turn a lot of people on to Dr. Burke because your name is easy too, for people to go. I'm Fox, so I'm easy too.
Oh, cool.
But here's the way I look at these small LDLs, almost like particles of sand that break through that interior wall, and then the white blood cells go to it, and that's the arteriosclerosis. And if they get too big, they break off and can cause a clot. Is that a Reader's Digest version of it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is. And there's various things that make it inflamed. One is the glucose will make it inflamed. Number two is the type of oil. Like you have oxidized cholesterol, oxidized oils, in the vegetable oils especially, omega-6, the canola, the soy, the cottonseed. Oh my gosh, that will create probably even worse inflammation than sugar itself on the arteries. The other thing that's really, really important is vitamin E for the arteries. E, especially tocotrienols, which basically are 50 times stronger than tocopherols, especially for the inside of the artery and the lining of the arteries. And it's going to, even if you were to consume some of these oils, if you took some of the vitamin E, it will actually protect against that damage. So there's some real great protective things if you're taking other nutrients, despite having, even if you had bad cholesterol, if you take the nutrients, it protects you. So.
Okay, great. Well, that sets me up great for another Zoom call I have coming up today, so I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks for calling.
All right.
Okay, have a good one.
You too.
All right, Karen.
it's 12 o'clock.
Listen, guys, we really appreciate all your questions. We hope you have a wonderful, wonderful holiday.
Have a great holiday. Have a keto holiday, and enjoy yourself. Enjoy your family. Thanks for showing up spontaneously here in the middle of the week. We will be back on Friday for the regular, right?
Yep.
For the regular Friday show. Thank you for putting up with some sound challenges and helping us out with that. We really appreciate you guys.
All right, have a good one. See ya.
See ya.